When we think about art and we think about particularly our public schools, oftentimes when we're having funding issues, arts and music are pushed to the side. It's so important that we preserve them, because we've seen so many times when students may not be doing well in science and math and reading, but they find themselves in the arts and in music, and they find that they are good, and it makes them better in reading and math and science after they have gotten the confidence that they need from arts and music. And you have public school students like the guy I'm about to introduce who learned and developed a love of music in our public schools. When you live in a state where a group like the Steep Canyon Rangers can actually be in the audience watching somebody else, that's pretty cool. And we're glad to have them here tonight. But thank you for coming, and this guy is special. I think most people know who he is. I think my son-in-law and Claire both introduced me to him many years ago, and I got to meet him during my campaign for governor and gotten to see him so many times. He is a special talent. So the Cooper family wants to introduce to you the one, the only, North Carolina's own Ben Fold.
Feel like I need to have a cape on after that. So yeah, I mean, y'all probably know I'm from North Carolina. I grew up in Winston-Salem, and you know, I come back here a lot because I mean, I have a music career. For anyone who doesn't know anything about me, I play piano and I write songs, and I've been doing that for a long time. But the real, you know, the reason I keep coming back here is because it gave me so much opportunity. When I was growing up, I had access. My family didn't have a bunch of money. Like, that may be an understatement. But we had access in Winston-Salem to things like music and art, all kinds of art, music, museums, dance, to see these things and to be exposed to them, and to try them ourselves, and have teachers like one I'm going to introduce in a moment. And by the way, what's interesting, you know, like, a lot of my teachers were writers. Like, they were great. I had great poetry teachers, great music teachers. We used to sit down, Moore Elementary School in Winston-Salem. We sat on the floor in first grade, and the first thing you do is look at the board, and they would write music notes up, just percussive time notes. You go ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti. Does anyone else do that? That's an amazing thing to do. Like, even if I hadn't been a musician, what I got out of my arts and music education allowed all, like, the confidence that was just talked about, like, you know, having confidence because you do music, but even more than that, like, it's people are we're successful because of our ideas. In fact, the human race has come up from the middle of the food chain because we are the ideas animals. We can tell stories, we can make things up, we can explain those stories, we can explain them through music. Basically, we just hijack sounds to make music. That's all we're really doing when we make music. If you hear, like, a middle of the night and you're hearing someone drag something down an alley, and you're like, what is that? What's someone dragging something? They're coming towards me? They sound like they might be drunk. You know, like, you start to hear details and things. That's what music is. If you understand music a little bit as a kid, you don't have to major in it or go on to do what I've done. But even if you're making a good website, you want to be an ideas person. You want to cultivate your ideas. So from an economic point of view, it actually makes a lot of sense. I'm preaching to the choir. But the importance of getting the music to the kids early, so that that's a part of their understanding of how life works. So you can intersect abstract thinking and critical thinking together, and have a little break where it's not all a big bummer. Some people hate music. They suck at it. They don't want to do it. But it's like anything, it's part of the spectrum of the stuff that makes us us when we grow up. And if you take one of those opportunities out, like, you're missing so many kids. Think how many kids one kid is. One kid that you reach that has the confidence then and understands enough to then go on and do something great. And that's all I need. So leaving music out of the programs is no for me. And I don't want to leave out physical education either. Like, I like it all, but I don't think you can cut that out. And I don't think it costs a lot of money. And I think if we're not vigilant about it, it's really quick and easy for someone to talk us out of it. Like, no, we've got test scores we have to make. We have to do these things. Like, we don't have time to take time out for music. Like, for our principals, like, well, maybe I don't want to lose my job while my kids aren't testing well. That makes sense. The incentive of that makes sense. But the way for everyone to win is for everyone to have that music education. So I keep coming back here to help with that because I just got help from adults that just didn't even need to be doing that. Like, they had a one-size-fits-all class. They didn't have to look at me and help me out like that. And I look around at my peers that come from other places, and I feel sorry for them because they didn't come up as wealthy in ideas and as wealthy in art as I did in Winston-Salem. And if I can come back and spread that back over, over another generation, then that's well worth the time spent. We've been doing this, it's called Keys for Kids. It is basically what we're trying to do, and we've got a lot of help from the North Carolina Arts Council and Foundation together to spot who we need to partner with. But there are already so many amazing people and nonprofits doing things and teaching kids, small numbers, big numbers after school. Huge thing to help make up the gap as we're trying to fill public schools again with some civilization, right? But these people are doing it anyway. They know what's happening on the ground. So all we're doing is assisting them with as much funding as we can pull together. I'm not bad. Oh shit. Yeah. So they're already doing these amazing things. So what we're doing is we're giving them a certain amount of money that we can raise, letting them spend it the way they know how to. Of course, they're accountable for it. But the idea is not to tell them what to do. They know what to do in their communities. They know their kids, and they know what the score is. So it's been pretty successful. And one of the big success stories, I think, is we did a meeting like about a year ago. Saw everyone's presentations, and it was really super inspiring to see all these kids playing pianos. We've got Casio was kind enough to give us a load of electric pianos for kids to learn on. And one cat who's standing to the side of me over here, Nathan Shirley, who I'll introduce to you formally in a moment, works with kids in McDowell County. And he's got like this class piano method that I actually thought when I saw it was kind of groundbreaking, and that's a hard thing to be groundbreaking in. And he's getting awesome results from these kids. And if one kid is enough to inspire you, he's doing hundreds of them at a time. And it is really an inspiring, amazing thing to see. It's well worth me jumping off my big rock tour to come hear him talk. So without further ado, let me introduce you to a composer and an amazing teacher and a great thinker, Nathan Shirley.
Thanks. It's great to see everybody. It's been nice to meet several of you. I hope to meet many more. And it's just great to be in the presence of so many people who are such strong supporters of the arts. I feel like arts are sort of the soul of any society, and music is one of probably the most abstract of the different arts. And I think it's the most direct way to connect with people. I'll say a little bit about what you're seeing up here. This is, as we're at the very beginning of the program, we introduce rhythm and kind of what Ben was talking about, what he had when he was a kid growing up, starting with the T's and Ta's and learning to read the notation of music. And from there, we go into the keyboards once they've learned a bit about the fundamentals of reading music. And then you'll see some some performances. This is right after only about 5 months of the program. And I'll also say a little bit about my background. Ben mentioned that I'm a composer, and I have a background teaching private piano lessons, but primarily I compose music and was performing a good bit. But when my kids came around time to go to school in McDowell County, the elementary school that they were at had no music whatsoever. And I just volunteered my time to come in and try and give the kids something. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, and as a composer, I just kind of made the curriculum as I went and saw what worked. But seeing the connection that kids have when they're learning music, and seeing their eyes light up, and really having things connect and everything is such an overwhelming experience. So I kind of have always had my hand a little bit in music education, and then once the Keys for Kids program came around, and the local arts council approached me about heading it up, I thought, this sounds like a perfect way to kind of come full circle and reach more kids. If you're teaching private piano lessons, you're only primarily reaching middle and upper class kids. And so I thought the way to do this would be to take it into the schools. So rather than an after-school program, this is actually their only music education. So we see all the third graders, fourth and fifth graders at 2 schools. This is an arrival of new keyboards, which, again, Keys for Kids made happen, and from Casio. And so the kids are helping unbox them and putting things together. But in the meantime, I've been trying to figure out, well, what works. Yeah. The kids are nonstop comedians. It's great. And then testing them out a little bit. And so none of these kids here have had piano lessons prior to it. These are things they've picked up along the way. Some of them excel at playing by ear, some excel at the reading aspect, some are great improvisers, and we do a lot of creative things with improvisation and simple composition. But as I've went along, there is no standard curriculum for teaching children group piano lessons. There's, of course, a lot of methods for private lessons, and then there's the college piano classes. But I felt like as I went around and found things that worked and threw out things that didn't work, I could, bit by bit, cobble together a curriculum that would really not only work for what I was doing, but hopefully could be replicated in other school systems, other communities. So my hope is to grow this out further and let other people take it on and see what they can make of it. One of the amazing benefits that you have in teaching a big group of kids piano and keyboard that you don't get when you're teaching private piano lessons is they can play together. So sometimes they'll work on their own at their own speed with headphones on, and sometimes we'll unplug and work on ensemble music. So these kids are reading 2 different parts at once and trying to listen to each other and listen to me at the same time and keep up. And then you'll see some enthusiasm at the end here. They had, thanks. Good timing there. And the kids had worked really hard up until that point. This was them preparing for the end-of-year concert, which they just had recently. And so once we finally got it all together, they were so excited. But again, thank you to Ben and Keys for Kids and all of you here for your support. I'm looking very much forward to hearing the concert. So thanks again.
Zach and Sarah.